Greetings, YouTube. The doctor is in. Dr. Urias Papers here, coming at you with another commentary on Dungeons and Dragons. And welcome back to the channel that brings power gaming to the next level. We are going to be going over the new 2024 Ranger preview. And here it is. We actually got a pretty cool picture in this one. I didn't like the picture for the wizard so much. This one's actually pretty cool. Very typical looking elf with a bow. The proportions all look great. It's got a saber-tooth leopard tiger thing companion with them. So all in all, pretty cool. Like it. So we get our typical flavor introduction. This came out 3 days ago by Damon Cook. And we'll be looking at this in comparison to the 2014 to 2024 Ranger, and we'll be giving this a grade as well, like we normally do. So we've got our flavor paragraph. Like most of the other classes that they're going through, they're folding in a lot of Tasha's Cauldron of everything into here. Instead of being optional class features, they're folding them in as regular class features that you would get for getting certain levels. And then we've got our advertisement, of course, for the digital bundle. And then there's a table that lists essentially a summary of all the changes that are there. So we're not going to go through that. We're going to actually go through the text itself. So we get 2024 Ranger can prepare more spells than the 2014 Ranger could learn. So Rangers learn spells. So if we go up here to the Ranger table and we go to spellcasting, which actually doesn't happen for a while, you know 2 first-level spells of your choice, and then the spells known column shows when you learn more learn. So they use the word learn of your choice. So you can learn up to 11 spells. You can learn up to 11 spells at 20th level, and then you've got your spell slots. You don't actually start casting spells until 2nd level. But with this Ranger, so they give an example. For example, the 2014 Ranger learned their 6th level spell at level 9. Learned their 6th level spell at level 9? No. They learned their 5th level spell at level 17. At level 9, they get 6 spells learned. I guess what they're saying is not their 6th spell, not their 6th level spell, but their 6th spell at level 9. Okay, yes. So and so the 2024 Ranger can prepare their 6th spell at level 5. So are the slots going to look the same, though? I'm imagining that the slots are going to look the same so that you won't be able to cast a 3rd level spell until 9th level. We'll have to see what that means. So spellcasting looks a little different. All spellcasting classes prepare their spells now, although some classes still change their spells when they level up, like your used to. Spellcasting classes are no longer distinguished by who prepares spells and who learns them, but rather how often a class can change their prepared spells and how many they can change at a time. For example, now the 2024 Ranger prepares its spells when they complete a long rest, just like the druid, that can only swap out 1 spell per day. Okay. They can also use a druidic focus. So I'm going to reserve my opinion for now on this because I haven't seen exactly what it looks like from the player's handbook. Okay. So we get a bump, and this is pretty much a bump to Hunter's Mark. So favored class has some significant changes. So favored class before, we got favored enemy. Here is favored enemy right here. Beginning at first level, you have significant experience studying blah, blah, blah. Choose a favorite enemy, blah, blah, blah. Alternatively, you can choose 2 races. You have advantage on wisdom survival checks to track your favorite enemy. So not just survival checks, but survival checks to track that particular enemy, as well as intelligence checks to recall information about them. And then you learn one more language of your choice that is spoken by your favorite enemy. So it was just an okay thing. It wasn't great. It didn't give you anything in combat. It was a lot of out-of-combat flavor, in my opinion. So this feature no longer focuses on tracking and recalling information about certain creature types or learning their language. Instead, you can now cast Hunter's Mark twice per long rest without expending a spell slot, and you always have it prepared. So that's a little bump. That's definitely a bump. It was always a pain to use your bonus action to cast Hunter's Mark because everybody always forgot to do it. That was a big thing. I can't count how many players forgot to use their bonus action to cast Hunter's Mark before they started acting in combat, or they lost their concentration because of it, or they didn't have any spell slots left, because there are some okay ranger spells too. So you can now do it twice per long rest without expending a spell slot, and it's always prepared. This will make it much easier to keep up with barbarians, fighters, and paladins. Hopefully they didn't change Hunter's Mark in the damage output without having to spend your precious spell slots to do it. With the new spell casting feature, you could already prepare more spells than before. With the new favored enemy, you also prepare the Ranger's trademark spell for free. Preparing a bunch of spells is great, but if you only have a certain number of slots, then there's some diminishing returns on that. All right, they get Weapon Mastery. Weapon Mastery is the big thing that is supposed to bump all these classes up. So they get Weapon Mastery property of 2 weapons, and they can swap out during a long rest. Mastery properties make combat as a martial character more exciting, more tactically interesting, yada, yada, yada. And they gave the weapon masteries for 3 different things: the battle axe, the longbow, and the scimitar. Battle axe has topple, so you can force an enemy to make a constitution saving throw or be knocked prone. That's actually pretty awesome. Just have to say, prone is pretty nasty in 5th edition. Then they're slow with the longbow, which is pretty good. So you reduce the target speed by 10 feet. And Nick allows you, with the scimitar, Nick allows you to use the light properties, extra attack as part of your attack instead of as a bonus action. This keeps your bonus action available for things like Ensnaring Strike and Hunter's Mark. See? So that actually is pretty cool. But you need to be in melee combat for that. So Natural Explorer is not a feature. There's a bunch of these that they took away, which I am not happy about. So Natural Explorer was a really good feature. So you are particularly familiar with one type of terrain, you choose it, and difficult terrain doesn't slow your group's travel. Your group cannot become lost except by magical means. I can't count how many times we use that. Players have used that. I've used it as a ranger, so it's gone now. That is a problem. That is a big problem. So it's gone, and the ranger now gains access to spells that could help with travel. Okay, Alarm, Goodberry, Speak with Animals. Great, that's awesome. Okay, at level 1, because they get spells at level 1, and you can select Expertise in Survival with Deft. I don't know why they even put this here, because it's not. Natural Explorer is gone. There's nothing in this that they're getting. They took everything away. At 2nd level, there's Deft Explorer, which is from Tasha's. So now a level 2 feature, the new Ranger's Deft Explorer grants you experience in 1 skill and 2 languages. So you get expertise in a skill. Grants you experience in 1 skill. Really, I think they meant to say expertise. So like they give the example of expertise in perception. This is okay. It's not Natural Explorer. Natural Explorer actually is pretty useful. 2nd level, Fighting Style, which hasn't really changed too much. The Ranger got a Fighting Style at 2nd level in the 2014, so it's fine. They're now a type of feat, however, so when you get access to the fighting style, you can select a feat with the fighting style prerequisite. I don't know why they did that, but it's not a class feature anymore. The biggest change here is the optional class feature, Druidic Warrior. From Tasha's Cauldron, everything is now available to all rangers. If your ranger is more magically focused, you can choose Druidic Warrior to learn 2 druid cantrips instead of selecting a fighting style. I would rather select the fighting style. You also are no longer limited to archery, defense, dueling, and 2-weapon fighting. So now your ranger can grab a shield and focus on protecting their allies in the front line. So I think they're going to expand it out to what the kind of the fighter gets. All right. That's okay. I don't really think that's a buff or a nerf. Deft Explorer versus Natural Explorer, I guess those are kind of a net zero gain. All right, this is the big one. Ranger subclass level 3. So they have 4 of them here. I don't know. So if we look at the Ranger, there are 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 different subclasses, and they call them Ranger archetypes. Now they're subclasses. They only mentioned 4 here, so I don't know what's going to happen with the other one. So Beastmaster. So if we look at Beastmaster here, you get your companion at 3rd level. You gain a beast, fights alongside you. Choose a beast no larger than medium. It has a challenge rating of a quarter or lower. Add your proficiency bonus to the beast's AC attack rolls and damage rolls, as well as to any saving throws and skills it is proficient in. Its hit point maximum equals the hit point number in its stat block, or 4 times your ranger level, whichever is higher. Like any creature, it can spend hit dice during a short rest to regain hit points. It obeys commands. It takes its turn on your initiative. On your turn, you can verbally command the beast to move. You can use your action to verbally command it to take the attack, dash, disengage, which is just, nobody played a Beastmaster because of that. So if you don't issue command, it takes the dodge. And eventually you could use your bonus action to command the beast to dash, disengage, or help. So starting at 11th level, when you command your beast to take the attack action, the beast can make 2 attacks, or it can take the multi-attack action if it has that action. So not the Beastmaster was always underwhelming. So here are the changes. The Beastmaster's signature feature, Primal Companion, looks very similar to what you saw in Tasha's. However, their AC now scales with your Wisdom modifier instead of proficiency bonus. So is that better? I don't know, because at 13th level, are you going to have a ranger with a 20 Wisdom? Probably not. So at lower levels, it might be okay, but I'm going to say you're probably going to have a +3 at the most on your ranger in Wisdom. So I don't think the Beastmaster needed to be nerfed, and that feels like a nerf to me. Exceptional training can now be activated on turns where you use your bonus action to command your companion instead of turns where the companion did not attack. And this feature now lets your primal companion take the dodge action as a bonus action. Lastly, Bestial Fury shares some of the benefits of Hunter's Mark with your primal companion once per turn. And let's see, where is that? Bestial Fury. Bestial Fury for the Beastmaster is an 11th level feature. It just seems to me that the beasts that the Beastmaster Ranger gets have a tendency to get whacked really hard every combat at higher levels. So, all right, the Fey Wanderer, the Fey Wanderer, whereas here it's Fey Wanderer. Okay, so they've got Dreadful Strikes. Can augment your weapon strikes with Mind Scarring Magic. When you hit a creature with a weapon, you can deal an extra D4 psychic damage to the target, which can take this extra damage only once per turn, and it goes to a D6 at 11th level. So this was a little bit of extra damage. You learn some additional spells that you can add automatically, and you also possess Preternatural Blessing. So choose your blessing from the Feywild gift table and determine it randomly. You got the otherworldly glamour. So as a result, whenever you make a charisma check, you gain a bonus equal to your wisdom modifier. Gain proficiency in one of these things. Deception performance. And then beguiling twist. The magic of the Feywild guards your mind. You have advantage on saving throws to be charmed or frightened. In addition, whenever you or a creature within 120 feet succeeds on a saving throw against being charmed or frightened, you can use your reaction to force a different creature you see within 120 feet to make a wisdom saving throw against your spell DC. If it fails, the target is charmed or frightened by use, that was pretty good. That was pretty good, and for 7th level, that wasn't bad. Now, what did they change? The Fey Wanderer is almost entirely unchanged from its appearance. At level 9, Summon Fey is always prepared instead of Dispel Magic. So that is right there. So that's pretty good. I guess that's okay. But Dispel Magic now appears on the Ranger spell list, meaning a Ranger can prepare it. Okay, so Gloomstalker. This is the big, giant. We all knew this was coming, and it's here. So Vecna now no longer has a Gloomstalker problem because they have completely neutered the Gloomstalker. So the Gloomstalker saw some moderate tweaks. These are not moderate tweaks. Instead of an extra attack, so let's look at the Gloomstalker. Dread Ambusher. So you give yourself a bonus to initiative equal to your wisdom modifier. At the start of your first turn of each combat, your walking speed increases by 10 feet, which lasts until the end of that turn. If you take the attack action on that turn, you can make one additional weapon attack as part of that action. If that attack hits, the target takes an extra 1d8 damage of the weapon's damage type. So, when this got combined with a fighter that had action surge, you attacked, and you made 2 attacks. However, if you were a higher level ranger or a high level fighter who got 2 attacks per attack action, then you made 3 attacks, and then you action surged and you made 3 more attacks. And if you were hasted, you got your hasted attack. And the target takes, if that attack hits, so the last attack of each attack action in that turn did an extra d8, and you could have your hunter's mark on too. And if you added a few levels of thief into that or rogue into that, then you got sneak attack. Now, instead of an extra attack on the first round that deals, it's not that it dealt additional damage. It was a whole extra attack that stacked up. So instead of an extra attack on the first round that deals additional damage, the Gloomstalker's Dread Ambusher now allows them to add extra damage to a hit a few times per day. So in other words, they're getting rid of the extra attack, and they're allowing you to do extra damage, which they don't say how much it is. Well, you got to do extra damage anyway. Here it is right here. So this is a lot of verbiage that is making it sound like it's not so bad, because Wizards of the Coast knew that there were going to be a bunch of haters, including myself, that didn't like that they changed this. Stalker's Fury at 11th level was also tweaked slightly to build off this change, increasing the damage of Dread Ambusher and allowing you to apply an additional effect when you use it. You make an extra attack on a nearby enemy or frighten your target and creatures within 10 feet of it. So currently, that doesn't sound so bad, but currently, Stalker's Fury, you learn to attack with such unexpected speed that you can turn a miss into another strike. Once on each of your turns, when you miss with a weapon attack, you can make another weapon attack as part of the same action. That's actually pretty good. That's once per turn. So, all in all, the Gloomstalker got a massive, massive, massive nerf. Do I think that they're not worth taking anymore? No, but they're not nearly as powerful as they were. Not even close. All right. Hunter. The Hunter has become more streamlined. The Hunter's Prey and Defensive Tactics granting you 2 options instead of 3. Why did they lower that down? So we had Colossal Slayer, Giant Killer, and Horde Breaker for Hunter's Prey. You got to choose one of them. And then there were defensive tactics, Escape the Horde, Multi-Attack Defense, and Steel Will. You got to choose one of them. Now, you only get to choose from two of them. I don't know why that is. However, you can change those selections every time you take a short or long rest. And they don't tell us which ones they are. So, my favorite is the new Hunter's Lore at level 3. Okay. You automatically know immunity increases marked by your 100 mark. So they're trying to make this sound cool by putting this extra flavor sentence in. I don't really care one way or the other. Primal Awareness at level 3 is not a feature, and so this is where they start taking things away. You can still gain greater awareness of the world around you by picking expertise. Again, this is not part of what Primal Awareness was, and they're just trying to tell you that you can do certain things anyway with certain spells, but this was something you got. Now you're not getting it. Formerly a part, so Roving at level 6, formerly a part of Dust Explorer. Roving has been split off into its own class feature. It now grants an additional 10 feet of movement instead of 5, but it does require you to not wear heavy armor. It still grants the climb speed and swim speed as before. So if we look at that, I believe that is in the optional class features. Roving increases by 5 feet, and you gain a climb speed and a swim speed equal to your walk. So that's actually pretty good. And that's a feature, so additional 10 feet and climb speed and swim speed. Land Stride, we're taking it away, not a feature. Instead, you're getting expertise at 9th level. So Land Stride for the Ranger, the old Ranger. 8th level, moving through non-magical difficult terrain costs no extra movement. You can also pass through non-magical plants without being slowed by them and without taking damage from them if they have thorns. In addition, you have advantage on saving throws against plants that are magically created. Okay, that's changing this to this, and it's not really even a change because it's not at the same level. That's a nerf. That's a big nerf. Tireless. With Tireless, you can use your action to grant yourself temporary hit points. I love using this feature as soon as literally anything seems off. So, Tireless was not a thing in the old Ranger. So, it doesn't say how many temporary hit points you get. We all know that temporary hit points don't fade and take a long rest. I don't think we need to have that pointed out. As soon as I hear a weird noise, I'm drawing my scimitar and using Tireless. This feature is nearly identical to its appearance in Tasha's, except that now that the number of uses is tied to your wisdom modifier, not your proficiency bonus. Okay, that is an issue. Again, for this, there's Tireless right there. So it was 1d8 plus your wisdom modifier. And as an action, you can give yourself temporary hit points. You can use this action a number of times equal to your proficiency bonus and regain all expended uses after you finish a long rest. In addition, when you finish a short rest, your exhaustion level, if any, is decreased by 1. So that, again, Tireless. If it's just giving you temporary hit points, that's a nerf. That is an absolute nerf. I don't see why the Ranger had to be nerfed so much. Here's a big one. Big, giant nerf. Rangers get, at 10th level, hide in plain sight. You can spend 1 minute crafting camouflage for yourself. You must have access to fresh mud, blah, 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 blah. Once you're camouflaged in this way, you can hide by pressing yourself solid surface, such as a tree. You gain a plus 10 bonus to dexterity stealth checks as you remain there without taking. This was okay. This wasn't great. Once you move or take your action, you must camouflage yourself again. So this was just okay because it took a minute. It was basically a way to ambush. Now you just don't get it at all because they figured you don't need it and you shouldn't get it anymore. So anybody who liked to use that feature, sorry, you're just not getting it anymore. Relentless Hunter, taking damage no longer breaks your concentration for Hunter's Mark. Okay, that's good. If you want to focus on dealing damage, nothing so pedestrian as a fireball can stop you. You can now only use concentration on Hunter's Mark if you become incapacitated. Okay, I guess that's okay. Relentless Hunter before was not a thing at all. And Nature's Veil. And that is also not a thing. So that seems like a new thing. You can turn invisible as a bonus action. This invisibility lasts until the end of your next turn. We know that already. This feature is nearly unchanged from Tasha's, but the number of uses now equals your wisdom modifier instead of your proficiency bonus. Okay, where is that? Optional class features. Deft Explorer, Canny, Roving, Tireless, Favored Foe, additional ranger spells. I don't see it. Primal Awareness. There it is. Nature's Veil. As a bonus action, you can become... Now it's... So the only problem I have with changing this from a proficiency bonus, number of times a day, to a wisdom modifier is, again, you probably are not going to be dumping everything into wisdom as a ranger. So Vanish is not a feature. That kind of sucks. It is a class feature. I believe it is a class feature starting 4th level. You can use hide action as a bonus action on your turn. Also, you can't be tracked. Let's take that away. It's gone. So if you were using that as a 14th level ranger, you're not using it anymore. Precise Hunter. If a creature is marked by Hunter's Mark, you have advantage on attacks against them. By this level, you have 6 free castings of Hunter's Mark, so you can if you want to focus on dealing damage, blah, 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 okay, is Precise Hunter is not a thing here. And I don't think it's a thing down here. Druidic Warrior, Primal Awareness, no. So that seems like a new thing. That's pretty cool. Feral Senses, you now blindside out to 30 feet. I don't think that Feral Senses was a thing either. And, oh, here it is right here. Okay. At 8, you have preternatural senses that help you fight creatures you can't see. When you attack a creature you can't see, your inability to see it doesn't impose disadvantage on attack rolls. You are also aware of the location of invisible creatures within 30 feet of you, provided that the creature isn't hidden from you and you aren't blinded or deafened. Okay. This just gives you blind sight. And so there you go. You just can see. It's like Daredevil sight. You get an epic boon, which boon of dimensional travel, increase 1 ability score, and immediately after you take the attack or magic action, you can teleport 30 feet. I'm going to guess that this is a spell. And Foe Slayer, Hunter's Mark now deals a D10 in force damage instead of a D6. And here you become unparalleled. Once per turn, you can add your wisdom modifier to your attack rolls or damage rolls of an attack to make against your foe. You can choose to use this feature before or after the roll. Okay, so, I think this is probably about the same. Between favored enemy, giving you free... Okay, that's just flavor. A lot of flavor sentences in here. What do we think about this? I think that the Ranger got a bunch of big nerfs, and we're going to give this a big D. And yes, we're giving this a D because it nerfed all the power gaming parts of the Ranger, and this is a channel about power gaming. So, don't like it. Don't think it was necessary. And it is what it is. So, that's what I got for everybody today. I hope everybody enjoyed, and I will catch everybody later.